Welcome to the Funtrepreneurs. Here's your host for this episode of the Funtrepreneurs, Bob Kraus.
Hi everybody, Bob Kraus here with the Funtrepreneurs. Thanks for joining us today on this other episode. We've got some great guests with us today. I got Pamela and Lou with Promotex, who I have known now for almost, I think, 10 or 11 years.
Yeah,
in fact, when I built my first park, we're randomly calling people, and I think you guys were just starting to promote your business, and somehow I found you, and maybe it was IAPA or something of that nature, but you guys helped us with our first order of socks. You remember that, Pamela?
I remember that. That's some good history, and that was, we had been in the business for 20 years, but just entering the FEC market, and that was something that I remember very clearly.
Yeah. And we had fun because I got to design the socks.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget you said, oh, well, you can't put this kind of logo there, because you were explaining how the stitch count works, and it would be pixelated and wouldn't work right. And so you did a little modification. It's been a fun process to learn.
That was before this. That was before the socks were actually mandatory in all the parks.
Yeah.
I think you were one of the first to introduce grip socks to the market, which was pretty innovative at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a good asset for the business. We can talk a little bit about that, but I have a question first before we get started.
Okay.
So we're all in the business of fun, right? Family entertainment. When you think back when you were a kid, and I'll start with you, Pamela. Where did you go when you were a kid? What was one of your favorite places? Either you went with your family, your mom, your friends, whatever it was. What was the one place you loved going when you were younger?
Well, I was very fortunate to have my mom at home until I was 16 years old.
Nice.
So in the summertime, I wasn't a kid that went to camp because we had a pool. It was a community pool, and we used to spend our summers there. So all the moms would get together, and all the kids would get together who were my age, and we had swimming lessons bright and early in the morning. We had marathons where we had tents and pitch the tents. We had little dances. I think that's where I had my first crush on a boy that lived up the street.
Gosh.
So all these impressionable years, just being at home, but having the community, our friends, and the mothers, and it was a ball.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
funny because
really.
mine is a pool as well.
Really?
La Mesa, where I grew up, the La Mesa Community Pool, built back in the late '40s, and it had a retro, really cool avant. What do they call it? I can't remember the name of the style, but it was that whole '40s, '50s look with the cement forms and all that. Still there today. It's beautiful. My favorite place. So,
Yeah.
how about you, Lou?
I remember road tripping with my cousins and going camping along the way.
Yeah.
We made unforgettable memories. Taking 2 weeks and driving all the way from Canada all the way down to Florida,
Wow.
stopping along the way, playing at the beach, and just having great adventures. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite memory.
Well, we're in the business of creating memories, right? And it's one of the things I pride ourselves on. We create a place where people can come and have some refuge from the world, and hopefully, if all goes well, our parks are developed right, we have the right staff, people leave and they go, I love going to this place. And so as we created our first venue and location, we knew that socks were kind of this growing trend, and it had different reasons why. We talked about some of the reasons why the sock side of the business continues to flourish. Would you mind, Pamela, just talk a little bit about the importance of why the whole sock thing is growing in the business, and outside of the revenues that it creates?
Yes.
But what are some of the reasons why people should be using grip socks and stuff like that in their adventure parks?
Yeah, well, a sock is a sock, but there's just so many things about a sock that we love and that our clients love, because just by the mere fact that, well, first of all, for hygiene, okay, we were very involved in when the parks were going mandatory, because they weren't mandatory before. So the kids were going in the bathrooms with their bare feet and mandatory.
Trucking all over.
Exactly. So that's, to me, number one.
Yep.
Is hygiene. Number two, the fun aspect of it. A lot of times we propose new innovative colors and glow colors, because everybody's got the black light and the glow night, so it's actually very fun. But we are able to really help them say who they are in a sock. Just by the way it's branded,
Yes.
the taglines that we're able to put,
Yeah.
guiding them with the patterns, with the LTO. Lou was talking about
basically
LTO.
the kids keep
Yeah.
coming back to get those limited time offer socks.
Like a collectible.
I love that.
Halloween socks, Christmas socks, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So these socks become a revenue generator for the parks.
Yes.
And we help them design, new designs and come up with ideas that'll basically drive those kids into the parks asking for those socks. Hey, I didn't get the green ones. I want the, there's a new one this month.
Yep.
So these socks are becoming really the number one revenue generator for these parks. Many parks tell us we make more on the socks than we make on the attractions or on the
Wow.
pizzas.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely, for us in Uptown Jungle, definitely a good chunk of our business, but I mean, we have other resources. But yeah, I can see how that could definitely be the case. The nice thing is, like you said, you can take the brand and envelop it around the sock, and then when they take it home, they keep that brand alive. And it's not just the brand, but I notice even like those little sticky pads underneath all have different patterns, right? That kind of make it fun.
The grips,
Some look like, the bottom of a cleat. Some look like, little moon boots or whatever it might be. So they get different aspects to them that make them fun to wear. And the grip itself keeps everybody safe. We have warped walls in a lot of our parks, and we have other attractions where kids need that extra grip.
Yeah.
It's really nice to have, especially on trampolines as well.
Something else that we launched not so long ago, maybe a few years ago, was for the soft play. So half grips were something that were also very popular because when they're climbing, you need the grip, and the kids are coming down, and when there's a grip, it's like putting brakes on a bicycle
Right, on their
when
heels.
you've only got
Yes.
brakes on the front wheel. So when it enables them to slide down without toppling over.
So the half grip is kind of on the toe, the top half of the foot, or the
Yes.
bottom. I love that.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of brands now are mixing and matching their socks, right? They're not just doing a whole bunch of crew socks.
Right.
They're doing half grips, full grips, ankle, crew, LTO. Some people do socks with no grips just to sell them as collectibles.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are having a lot of fun with that.
Good. Well, so outside of that, there's other innovations that are happening. I know you sell everything from like, all the shirts and the different swag and the little, the bags and everything else. These are great ways for people to have extra revenues in the parks, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, you can take these items, if you buy enough of them at the right bulk price, you can put a substantial markup on it, which becomes a great revenue stream for the parks. And as you said, you can see how some places are like, hey, we sell enough stuff, it makes more than our admissions. That can be really powerful.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we always promote packaging things together. So we'll sell, a lunchbox with a T-shirt rolled up and a water bottle inside. So when you're doing your birthday party, you're upgrading those birthday packs, right? So
Yes.
$15 for a pack includes a T-shirt, includes a water bottle, and a insulated lunch cooler, which the kids will bring to school the next day. So your brand is basically traveling with those kids and being
I love that.
traveling around all the schools the next day.
Yeah.
You're paying 15, you're paying 5 and selling it for 15. So that's just another way to elevate your brand, and basically upsell the products.
Get your brand ambassadors going.
When the
right?
products are fun and the products are colorful, it's not only, the schools, it's, for camp. A lot of the parks have, camp programs.
Yeah.
And when you start camp on your first day, you get your T-shirt and all the things that you need for camp, and then they will bring that to school. So it's brand awareness.
Yeah.
The kids, hey, I want that, and the cool
I
little
got to
things.
share your cool story. Yeah, we opened up our second park. It was in Arizona, and we said, we want to do like let moms get to know what we're all about. So one of our investors was really tied in with the school, the local school. Said, let's have a couple nights. So we did a deal where when the moms got invited to bring their kids for free, and when they arrived, we gave everybody a T-shirt. We gave everybody a couple slices of pizza and water, and then we did a tour. This was before the park officially opened. We did allow the kids to jump around, but then on their way out, we gave them a handful of little tattoos, the ones you lick and stick on. The next day, we get all these photos. There's kids everywhere at the elementary. They got the shirts on with Uptown Jungle logo, but they've been putting the tattoos on their forehead, and the tattoo said not only the name of the brand, but it said when we're opening, because it was all part about the grand opening date.
That's the power of swag, right?
Yeah,
So we
exactly.
And imagine the power if you hashtag something and put it on a tattoo and then put it on social media and then encourage the kids. Say, hey guys, come take a selfie on our selfie wall with our new T-shirt, which has a hashtag on it. So we're always pushing our clients to increase their brand awareness by adding products, by engaging in on social media. and by, you know, there's so many different ways to
Yeah,
do
because
this.
it's not just the goods, the swag, the socks. It's what you do outside of that
It's
to
really
keep
the
the
engagement.
machine going, right?
And it's fun. It's the experience. It's the, you know, when Lou's saying about social media, I mean, we've ran contests and, you know, send us your best, you know, picture, your best of this. And
Right.
it's really fun and engaging.
Yeah, I love the ones
Absolutely.
when we had some of our new sock designs. We had just kids with just all their feet up in the air, and we just
Yeah.
took photos of just their feet,
Just the grips,
You know,
yeah,
like
from the
look at
bottom,
these
yeah,
cool new
yeah.
socks, and so there's a lot of neat things you can do with that to keep that going. So in my travels to Asia and China specifically, while manufacturing a lot of my equipment for the projects of my own parks and the parks that I build for others, I had a chance to visit a couple of sock factories. And I gotta be honest with you, it was super fascinating. Like, you just don't think about what it takes to fabricate and make a sock, right? I mean, they have these machines with like 200 to 400 threads. They call them yarn. They look like
Yarn.
little threads, right? And the thread count, the numbers of yarns that come into the machine that then stitch it, that depicts or creates the quality, the thickness, the gauge, or whatever you call it,
Spot on.
and the comfort of the sock, right?
Yeah.
So what's like the minimum? Like if you were to sell your lowest cost, you know, almost not throwaway, but like, you know, limited use sock, because that's true, right?
You want to get technical?
Yeah, I do actually, because I think it's fascinating. I'm not too
Okay.
specific, but you know what I mean. Like, how many? What's the yarn count on the lowest cost sock
Okay.
you would sell? And I
So-
don't need to talk about price, but I'm just curious about.
Right. The quality of a sock is determined by how thick the yarn is, the weight of the yarn, and how much yarn is used.
Okay.
The material, the actual, you know, whether it's cotton, whether it's polyester and spandex, we have 2% spandex, 3% spandex, you know, 10%.
Right, which gives you that stretch,
gives
right?
you the stretch. But something else that gives us the stretch is the detail of the pattern that is knitted into the sock. So if there are too many details, the yarn that is used to create those
Colors.
outer details and patterns will be seen on the inside of the sock.
Yes.
So the more detailed the sock is, so sometimes we have to reduce colors, sometimes we have to reduce the number of dots, sometimes we have to spread out the actual graphics of the sock, but we
Right.
will actually guide you and give you exactly what you need.
Yeah, 'cause you've been
Right,
through
so
this
when-
enough.
Right, so when we
Yes.
meet a new client and they want to see their logo on a sock, it's very exciting. So they'll send us all these visuals and say, "Hey, here's a picture of my kid. Can you make a sock with this? And he's our new mascot." And people don't understand that a sock is not printed; it's knitted, right?
Yes.
So
Knitted.
the logo is actually knitted with actual threads into the sock.
Right.
So when we do a T-shirt like the T-shirt you're wearing right now, you can go crazy on the colors, right? You could sublimate it, you can do a full screen print, but when you construct a sock, you're actually sewing the logo into
Knitting,
the
yeah.
Right.
the fabric, right? knitting.
Yeah.
So it's our job to basically, you know, guide you and set your expectations straight and not overpromise and say, yeah, we can put this picture on a sock because it won't look good.
And that's what you did with me. I remember I created one with like a bridge on it because it was kind of our first thing. And you said, "Hey, we need to limit the amount of stuff here, and it's gonna look boxy on the corners." Because remember, every stitch is like a pixel in a
Yes.
screen, right?
Yes.
So there was a little bit of learning that went with it, but really fascinating. And so let's talk also about the price point varies depending again on the thickness of the yarn and then how thick the sock is, right?
That's right.
But also let's talk about getting it on time, right? So yesterday I noticed you were talking with Brad with Uptown
Yes.
Jungle, and he was all excited because they were getting all of their holiday socks in. I mean, right now we're still 3-4 months out. But he's ordered all that to get there early because we've learned over the years this stuff takes time.
That's right.
On average, right now I know pandemic time it was worse, but what's the average turnaround time right now from order to delivery on average, say anywhere in the U.S.?
Anywhere in the U.S., it's 30, we can get real technical, would
No,
be
please.
5 to 7 days to get those physical samples after the CADs, which is the graphics,
Okay.
and boards are approved. Then we go right into production. That could be anywhere from 30 to 45 days, depending on the quantity.
Gotcha.
You're doing 50,000 or 500,000. It's,
Yes.
you know, so On the water, there's 1 week from factory to the port if they're going by ocean. So we need to account for booking a vessel, which could be anywhere from 7 to 10 days. When it is very busy, sometimes the vessel is bumped. So we always have to be very mindful of keeping a very nice buffer if these things occur. So to be reliable and deliver on time, we're always thinking behind the scenes and 10 steps ahead.
Gotcha.
So allocate a week for that, and ocean. I mean,
Now, I'll be
every
honest with you,
season it
that seems
changes.
fast. It's only a week on the ocean because
No, 1 week from the factory to the port.
to the port. Okay.
To the port.
I got you. Yes.
See, so if
That
we're
may-
at the factory,
that I
then
know.
we need to get that to the port. So we add another 7 days, and then 30 to 50 days
Yes.
by way of ocean, depending on where the final destination is. And then we have the inland shipping, customs clearance. So we allocate time for that.
Yes.
So most of the time we can speed that up because of the volume and the containers that are being brought in, but that's the average. So I would say 90 days
Right, and we also
or sooner.
Correct. So we invest in logistics. That's one of our number one places where we invest, and we pre-book vessels, right? So as Pamela was saying, many times vessels get bumped, or if you don't give enough volume to a logistics carrier, they'll put you at the back of the line.
Right.
So we stay loyal with our partners. We pre-book containers based on our projections and our volume, which allows us to shave some time off and to bring the socks in quicker. But we rather, under promise and over deliver than the opposite, because we understand the sensitivity
Right.
of not having socks, and especially since the socks are mandatory, and that's the last thing we want.
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed too, I have some clients, we went through this too, where we're like, we didn't order soon enough. And the nice thing is you guys carry a large assortment of generic socks, right? Is what we refer to them as generics?
Correct.
Generic
So
socks.
they kind of like say jump on the bottom or fly or whatever, right? Whatever that brand, that little word might say. And some of them may not say anything on them, but they might work with the color. They're generic enough that you can say, hey, you need 10,000 socks, which I know sounds like a lot, but 10,000 socks in a busy park, that goes pretty fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So we identified this need of generic socks about 10 years ago. We brought in our first shipment of generic socks. I'll never forget, Pam and I, we were sitting at our desk and we're like, let's bring in 10,000. It seemed like a lot at the time. And then that grew over the years. We're up to 9 colors. We have birthday socks in 3 colors, 5 sizes. So that grew. We have millions of generic socks in stock at all times. And believe it or not, a lot of parks are moving away from custom socks, especially the smaller parks, the more mom and pop parks, and moving and sticking to the generics. Why? They don't want to invest, and
The custom
Good
work.
for the cash flow.
cash. We have 1 case minimums, right? So you can order 1 case, it ships same day or next day within 24 hours.
For your
You don't-
generics, great.
Correct. You don't need to order 10,000. You can order 250.
Yeah.
Right? It's 250 per size per color. You don't tie up your money and you have them right away. So, and since we are offering 9 colors, they work with most brands, right?
That's-
So,
that's
and that
amazing.
was
We
the
have red,
idea.
we
So-
have blue, we have green, so
Right.
it ties into their brand image and their brand colors, and it's very fun. And some parks use the green for small and the red for large
yeah.
and the
Kinda vary it.
yellow
That
makes
for
a match,
medium.
right.
It's
Speaking of a brilliant thing I saw with a client, I think we kind of adapted it eventually, but they actually had the footprints on the ground.
Yeah.
So when you went to the point of sale, you would, if you're extra small, medium, large, extra large,
A sizing map.
you would literally put your foot down there and go,
Yeah.
oh, I'm that size. And then when you're entering it into the point of sale, it makes it super fast because you know what size you are.
So that's something else that we developed basically and started offering. Why? Because for hygiene, when you're at the counter and the kid says, I need a small, and they're really a size medium, once that package is opened and it's put on their foot,
Yeah.
it renders it not hygienic. And
Yeah.
and we had parks telling us we're throwing out 300 pairs of socks
Oh my
every month.
goodness.
And to avoid that, we developed the sizing mat, and of course, the respective parks have different sizes for small, medium, because these are custom, right?
Fantastic.
So some smalls could be a size 5-inch, and some smalls can be a size 4-inch. So we custom make the sizing mats to the sizes that they're offering in the park, and there's no wastage.
That's great. And
Saves
that
money.
keeps everything moving faster too, because
More
it's all
efficient,
about
right.
throughput, right? Getting
Yeah.
people in and out of the parks.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important element too. And then organizing them, having them in containers, pre-done, and like in our parks, we have literally a slot for every size. So the attendant, or cashier turns around and knows exactly where the small, extra small, and all those are at. So there's a system to that to make that really run well. And then they all come in packaging, which is keeps everything clean and simple. Let's talk about also the order. So if you're going to order something, typically you'll get, if you get customs, it's going to be best for the client to order as many as possible, price wise, and also just volume. You're going to get enough that you're going to not have to order again in a month's time, right? Ideally. So you try to get them to order what, like 90 days worth at a time? What would be like the minimum you would suggest to people?
That's exactly what we would suggest. Why? Because depending on the size of the park and how many jumpers are coming through the door, we have also, with our experience over the years, have been able to consult with our new parks that are opening and telling them how many socks they're going to need. And that was a really big problem too, which is why the generic program was born, because when new parks were opening, and there was a huge surge in 2016, 15, 16, and 17 was like an explosion of parks. And we found that they were running out because they were only ordering 30,000 to open, and they were gone in the first month. And then they had to wait 3 months.
It's a good problem to have.
So that really pushed us to keep more and more in stock, and it was really facilitating. And then the socks were mandatory. So it was just, supply and demand, a need that we had to fulfill. And we continuously, as the industry evolves, we continuously are fulfilling those needs, and it's boosting.
So, we have people, staff members that are keeping eyes on the forecast and everything, but we also have a software now that predicts based on trends, based on Chinese New Year, based on a lot of factors. Okay, Park XYZ ordered this much last year.
Yes.
Excuse me. There's a 10% growth this year. They opened up 6 parks, so here's the order for this year.
Yeah.
So we basically partner up with our clients, in this and many other industries, and say, hey, we'll manage your inventory. Give us your history. Feed us the information. We will put together the program for you, and we will handle that. We will factor in the Chinese New Year. We will factor in the Dragon Boat Festival when China closes down. All the other small holidays that affect production, affect deliveries.
So keeping inventory can be really advantageous. I mean, yesterday you were talking with Brad, and you're saying we had a whole container, right? That's a lot of boxes. How many boxes are in a container?
So a typical sock container contains 1,300 cases. As obviously assorted sizes, the extra large cases are larger than the extra small cases, but typically it's 1,300 cases. So
which is about 325,000 pairs of socks.
Wow. Yeah. So, you said, hey, where did you find a place to store it all? And the answer was, we got them in some of the parks. We may have to put a little storage behind a couple of them, right? But there's a big advantage for that. And so ordering in bulk is definitely going to save money and save time. You're going to have the inventory you need, and that's critical. I also learned that you have new facilities in Florida and California, right? Which is kind of nice to be on both ends of the U.S. That's got to be a dream come true for you guys, is to keep things flowing better, because you can bring some of the shipments in through the West Coast and others through the East, right?
Correct.
Yes, it facilitates.
And that way you're not shipping across the U.S., which adds to the cost.
That's right.
Yeah.
We also have a very strong partnership with our carriers, such as FedEx, where we have programs where it doesn't really matter where we ship from. We can offer flat rate shipping on larger programs and 2-day delivery.
Wow,
so
that's great.
Yeah.
Good. So what are some of the hot trends that are happening right now in the specialty items industry? Specifically in our business.
I think products that are actually interactive. We manufacture T-shirts with just outlines with crayons and markers that the kids at birthday parties or at camp can color in, and it's engaging, it's interactive, it's fun. But I think just the programs that we offer, a promotional item or a branded merch product can really tell a story. So those types of products are really something that we brand ourselves as an ideas company, because we deal with these types of programs and come up with the ideas even outside the FEC. With promotional products, age appropriate, whether it's a teens or tweens, there's always something innovative that can be interactive, that they can collect, that they can build, that they can color,
I think the important thing to note is when we meet a customer, we like to what I call tune into the brand, right?
Right.
So for example, if I meet Brad from Uptown Jungle, I'm gonna study his brand, learn his brand. We have our team members are really good at that. So when they send those presentations with the proposed items, they're not going to send Brad something that they would send to a car dealership or a law firm.
To be unique.
So correct. So tune into the brand. What are the primary colors? What is the audience? What is the price point? And when we have that information, we're able to generate really, really fun ideas that usually turn into great products.
I've walked around and you see others that are competitors, right? And I'm sure there's some good companies out there.
Sure, yeah.
I remember very clearly for a while, we stepped away from using Promotex thinking that it might be better if we went direct. And because once you open these places, you get a lot of calls and solicitations from people from different parts of the globe saying, hey, we can offer this at this price. And as you do the math, you think, wow, I can save 12 cents on this sock or 8 cents or whatever it might be. But then what happens is our journey was we stepped away and then we come back later realizing that we had something great. But really what it was is what Brad was saying is that they came back with very aggressive pricing and they managed all the logistics and we couldn't say no. Why would I want to go take on all that responsibility and fight on price when they already met everything? And so hat off to you guys because that doesn't come easy. You know what your margins need to be, and everybody needs to make a fair profit in business, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
But I would imagine your business is very competitive, and so things have to be competitive too in order for people to feel like they got a good value. So for these entrepreneurs that are getting in the business, this is a great revenue stream. I mean, if you think about it, if you could buy a sock and mark it up 100% or more, right? That's incredible revenue stream. And there's very few things that you can sell in a park with that kind of markup. And the good news is that the industry as a whole has a price range of that $250 to $350, maybe even higher, I'm sure, if you go to New York and other places. So that it's a great way to bring more dollars into the parks.
And just an example also for the new entrepreneurs, because of the volume that we do, we pass that on to our clients. So it doesn't matter if you're only ordering a low quantity, you benefit from the volume pricing that we're able to offer. And trending things, anything branded. So even those little pop-it discs, with a little custom-made animal. If you have a mascot, we'll custom make it in your animal. The pop-its, and fidget spinners, anything that's trending, we can brand it and put your logo on it. So it's.
Yeah, I've always loved the promotional business. I've had friends in it in the past, but you guys have really honed in specifically on the family entertainment centers and do a great job. So I want to thank both of you for coming today and being part of this because our whole goal is to educate our entrepreneurs, people who are relatively new or brand new to the industry, trying to let you know that these are kind of the things you should be looking for as you grow your business. And keep in mind, this is not meant to be a sales pitch for a specific company. I happen to know the folks at Promotex, but there are other quality companies out there, but very few seem to have the kind of bandwidth and the kind of logistics and, I don't know, I want to say the human passion side.
Oh,
this is a people business.
We love our job.
We love our job.
Yep, it's very apparent.
We love our
it's
job.
very apparent. And so, as we work together to continue to elevate the quality of the industry, just want to say thanks to both of you for making a difference and making a mark in our business. And for everybody else out there, I want to say thanks for joining us on this episode of the Funtrepreneurs. Hope you learned something good today. And keep in mind that every time we do one of these, we have a different guest. In this case, we have guests with an S, plural. Very nice to have them both together again. So Pamela and Lou, thanks for being here.
Thank
you.
you.
Join us next time, and you're going to find all kinds of other wonderful guests. You can learn other cool things that are happening in the world of family entertainment. We'll catch you next time. Thanks again for joining the Funtrepreneurs.
The Funtrepreneurs is brought to you by United Play, your one-stop solution to design, manufacture, and build thrilling attractions for family entertainment centers and adventure parks.